If you grew up in the 1960s or 70s, you remember the sound of a ringing phone echoing through the house. Back then, you didn't hear the cute chime of a smartphone. Home phones of that era made a loud ringing noise that was distinctive and familiar to all within earshot. This ringing noise sounds like a sharp mechanical bell, and it made everyone stop what they were doing. And whoever got to the phone first had all the power. Maybe your household phone sat on the kitchen wall, or on a little table in the hallway. Wherever it sat. The home phone was often the main communications center of the household. It was part technology, part gossip hub, and part family referee. In many homes, there was only one phone and one landline. If someone else was talking on the phone, and you needed to use it, you had to chill out and wait for their conversation to end. That meant that you had to hang around, impatiently waiting while listening to the person chat away. Or find something else to occupy your time while waiting for the phone to become available again. Hi, I'm your host, and this is Stuff We Loved. This channel is all about remembering the things that made life fun, beautiful, quirky, and uniquely memorable. And let's be honest, few things shaped our daily lives the way the home phone did. It was a lifeline, a drama magnet, and a privacy challenge, all wrapped up in a curly cord. One of the most memorable things about those old phones was the sounds they made. When you removed the receiver off its hook, you'd hear the steady hum of the dial tone, letting you know someone out there in the world was ready to listen to what you had to say. And then came the dialing. Admittedly, it was slower than today's phones because you could only dial one number at a time. But that was okay because vintage phones had unique mechanical features that made them enjoyable to use. Rotary phones had a rhythm of their own. You'd stick your finger in a number, turn the dial, and wait for it to spin back around with that satisfying click, click, click. Dialing a phone number on a rotary phone took time and patience. If you messed up halfway through, you had to start all over. There was no backspace. No delete function, just pure humility. And yet, that little bit of effort made every call feel uniquely intentional. While holding the receiver to your ear, you'd hear the phone line connect and the distant ring of another phone. Would they pick up? You made sure you let it ring long enough to give the other person time to reach the phone. And remember dialing 0 for the operator? When you dialed 0, you'd often hear a calm, reassuring voice that was ready to help you find a number, make a collect call, or patch you through across the country. Telephone operators were usually female, and she was like a real-life Siri. She was someone who was going to listen to you because that was part of her job. She was often kind. However, some operators could be slightly judgmental if you called them too often. Remember making collect calls? Back in those days, collect calls had rules. You'd say your name real fast before the recording kicked in. Collect call from Mom, get me. And if the person on the other end didn't accept the charges, that was their polite way of saying no without getting on the phone and telling you no. Phones may have been mechanically similar, but they came in a wide variety of colors. And there were also several different phone design styles. So anyone buying a phone could find a style that suited their personalities and home decor. The big black rotary phone was an iconic staple in many homes in the early to mid-1960s. It was sturdy enough to survive being dropped, tugged, or smacked during an argument. As the decade went on and home decor essentials became more colorful, rotary phones were offered in an array of trendy colors. But phone manufacturers knew their customers wanted more. So they created new models that appealed to younger generations. People were thrilled with the slimline tabletop and wall phones. And of course, the Princess phone became an all-time favorite phone style for millions of phone company customers. Many preteen and teen girls who were fortunate enough to have a second phone line to use for endless hours of chit-chatting with friends had a Princess phone. If you had one of these, maybe it was a soft pastel blue or pink color. If you had a phone in your room, it probably sat on a nightstand next to your bed and made talking to your friends feel elegant. Phones came in special limited edition designs. These phones attracted the eye and became collectibles. Pop culture phones made to look like Mickey Mouse or Snoopy turned the phone into a piece of fun-loving home decor. There were also cool phones that were shaped like donuts. Their modern, curved design looked great in homes with sculpted furnishings. And then, of course, there were the phone cords. Oh, the cords. You could measure privacy in inches. Most phones came with standard length cords. However, everyone knew that the longer the cord, the better the secrets. So you may have gotten a longer cord just so you could ensure you'd have more privacy while chatting about all sorts of topics. You'd stretch that thing as far as it would go. Around the corner, down the hall, into your bedroom, until it was pulled tight like a tripwire. And heaven help the person who walked into it. You probably also remember the cord twist. That tangled mess that somehow got worse every time you tried to fix it. There was something about having one phone for the entire family that taught patience and negotiation. You couldn't scroll through your contacts or text a friend to say, "I'll call you later." If your sibling was on the phone, you had to wait your turn. And if your parents picked up another phone extension in the house, allowing them to hear every word you said, the entire conversation came to a screeching halt. Privacy meant lowering your voice and hoping no one was listening on the upstairs line. Here's the cool part. The telephone was a social revolution. Before the 1960s, home phone calls were a luxury. But as technology improved and phone lines expanded, they became a household staple. By the 1970s, phones were a part of daily life. Talking on a landline phone was how we shared news, made plans, flirted, argued, and apologized. The home phone turned neighborhoods into networks long before social media existed. Those phones connected us in ways that were slower, but maybe more meaningful. You didn't call someone just to say K. You called because you had something to say. And when you hung up, you didn't ghost anyone. You simply said goodbye and meant it. There were no emojis or read receipts. Just tone, laughter, and silence. You could hear everything in a person's voice: joy, nervousness, the sound of someone smiling on the other end of the line. It was a kind of connection that's hard to replicate in text messages. And of course, phones had their share of drama. The arguments over who tied up the line, the fear of missing an important call, the heartbreak of your crush calling and your dad answering the phone, scaring off someone who was just starting to get into you. You may have also learned the art of hanging up with just enough force to make your point, but not enough to break the receiver. Every home phone told a story. It sat quietly on a counter, overhearing decades of conversations. Everything from whispered secrets to late-night check-ins and long-distance goodbyes. Home phones were at the center of so much family history. As technology changed, the home phone evolved and changed with the times. There were cordless models, push buttons, answering machines, and eventually, cell phones that fit in your pocket. But none of them have quite the same soul as the corded phone with its heavy receiver and authentic, mechanical ring. The home phone taught us to pause, to wait, and to listen. It made us aware of time and tone, of other people's space, and of our own voice. It turned communication into something personal and intentional. Maybe that's why, even now, when you see a vintage Rotary or push-button phone in an antique shop, at a garage sale, or being sold online, you can't help but remember what it was like to have one at home. You may remember what it was like to hold the receiver in your hand, wrap the cord around your finger, share the latest gossip with a friend, or pass the phone receiver back and forth with your family members during long-distance conversations with relatives. Those old phones still tug at the heart because they remind us of a time when every call felt a little more personal, every voice a little closer, and every ring carried a story waiting to be told. So tell me, what kind of phone did you have at home? Maybe it was a pink princess phone, or a yellow wall phone with a cord that stretched halfway across the kitchen. And how many phone lines did you have? If this brought back memories, like and share this video with a friend who remembers real ringtones. Thanks for watching Stuff We Loved. I'll see you next time.